Here's a question I get from almost every single client I work with who is relocating to Northern Virginia. David, should I buy a new construction or just go with the resale home? And honestly, there's no simple answer because the right choice completely depends on your specific situation. And if you make the wrong call, it can cost you a lot of time, a lot of money, and a whole lot of frustration. So in this video, I'm breaking down the real pros and cons of buying a new construction home versus a resale home. And by the end, I hope you figure out which one makes the most sense based on your timing, your budget, and where you actually want to live. And you're not going to want to miss it, so let's dive right into it. Boom! Hey everybody, it's David, your favorite realtor. So let's finally answer the age-old question, should you buy a new construction or a resale home? So I have personally purchased both a resale home and a new construction home, and both definitely had their pros and cons, but both homes fit my needs at that time. So my ultimate goal with this video is to help you decide which one is the best choice for you, but there's no right or wrong answer. Sometimes a resale home makes more sense, and sometimes a new construction makes more sense. It's all gonna depend on your specific situation, price range, and timing. So let's kick this video off with the first pro of buying a new construction home with no bidding wars. So in our current 2026 housing market, especially during the spring, this has been the biggest pro with new construction homes, is not having to go into the dreaded bidding war. As bidding wars have pretty much become the norm since 2021 because there's been way more demand than available supply. So in the past 18 months, I've had clients go up against 12, 17, 20, even 25 offers. And let me tell you this, it's extremely hard to beat out 25 other offers. And if you happen to win, are you really the winner? Because you will be drastically overpaying for that house. However, having to deal with bidding wars is not the case with new construction, as it is first come, first serve. Basically, the first buyer to sign on the dotted line with the builder secures that house. So in new construction, you won't have to suffer through losing 4 to 5 multiple offer scenarios. And more importantly, not having to bid $100,000 above asking price with no home inspection just to secure a home. So if you want to stay away from the dreaded bidding wars, then new construction is the way to go. The next pro to buying a new construction home is less initial repairs and maintenance. So since everything in the home is brand new, you can expect fewer maintenance issues the first few years. So you don't have to worry about replacing the roof, the HVAC system, appliances, or windows right away. So you get that peace of mind. Now, there is no such thing as a perfect house, so you will still have some minor issues with new construction, but chances of major issues happening in the first few years are extremely low. But even if major issues arise, a lot of times they are still under warranty with the builder, and they will most likely get fixed or replaced for free. In fact, when I bought my new construction home, literally 4 months after I closed, my refrigerator completely died, but the builder replaced my fridge probably within 24 hours. However, on the flip side, when I bought my resale home, which was built in 1998, in the first year of ownership, I had to replace the HVAC and the appliances. And that was a lot of cash out of pocket. So if you don't want to deal with initial major repairs, replacements, or remodeling, then new construction is going to be the way better option. The next pro is, and this is one of the most significant benefits of new construction, is the ability to customize it during the building process. You get to pick your structural options, flooring, kitchen cabinets, countertops, appliances, lighting, and a lot more. And this is by far the most exciting part of the whole process. In fact, it might be the most exciting aspect in all of home buying because you really get to make the house your own. Now, I do want to say this, not everyone gets to pick out their options with new construction, as some builders are picking out all the options really just to streamline the process, or they pick out options on lots that haven't sold yet that still need to be built on a schedule. But if you are lucky enough to have the opportunity to pick out your options, then this is hands down the biggest pro of new construction, and it was my personal favorite part when I purchased my new construction home. Now, as much as I love making YouTube videos about living right here in Northern Virginia, what I love even more is helping folks just like you relocate to the area. So if you're ever thinking about moving to Northern Virginia, reach out to me, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. Just know I got your back when you move into Northern Virginia. Now let's dive into the pros of resale homes. And the first pro is resale homes are less expensive than new construction homes. So new construction homes are not just a little bit more expensive, they are substantially more expensive than resale homes. Now some aspects might be less than resale homes, like less immediate repairs and replacements, and a lot of the time, builders will pay some or even all of your closing costs. So it can potentially be less cash out of pocket initially. But it's a completely different story when it comes to the sales price. And you're gonna be absolutely shocked when I share these numbers with you. So the median sales price of a resale single family home in Northern Virginia comes out to $930,000. Now let's look at the median sales price of a new construction single family home in Northern Virginia, which comes out to a whopping $1,945,000. So new construction single family homes on average are 109% more expensive than resale single family homes. And that is a mind-blowing number. I've been making YouTube videos about Northern Virginia since 2020, and this is by far the craziest number I've ever seen and posted. I literally had to triple check it because I did not believe it initially. So you absolutely are gonna pay a premium for new construction, especially new construction single family homes. Now we know brand new anything is gonna cost more, but if you're trying to stretch your dollar and get the best value possible, then resale homes may be the better option to consider. The next pro is more available housing options. So when you're shopping for resale homes, you're gonna have way more available options at your disposal when it comes to the type of homes, location, and price points. In fact, over 86% of the active homes for sale in our region are resale homes. So here's an example. Let's say you're looking for a new construction single family home community in Reston with a budget of $1.5 million. Well, currently that criteria does not exist, but you're gonna find many options with resale homes in that price range in Reston. Or if you're looking for a new construction townhouse anywhere in Northern Virginia under $500,000, that doesn't exist as well, but you can find many resale townhomes under $500,000 all throughout the region. So if you are dead set on new construction, then your options will be limited, especially when it comes to the location. So having way more available options is a huge advantage for resale homes over new construction. Now let's look at the cons. And the first con of buying a new construction home is they are way more expensive than resale homes. Now we already talked about this earlier, so I'm not gonna go into it again, but hands down the biggest con with new construction is that you pay a premium compared to resale homes. The next con is advertised pricing versus actual pricing. And this is by far the most confusing part of new construction is the advertised price. So you might be in Zillow or even the builder's website and you will see this beautiful new construction single family home in Aldi that looks like it's straight out of a magazine listed for $1,043,000. And now you're ready to jump in your car, speed to the builder and drop a check in their hand. Unfortunately, that is not the real price. First of all, that's not even the actual house. That's usually pictures of the extra upgraded model home. So that $1,043,000 price is just the base price. You still need to add lot premiums, which can get as high as $100,000 for a premium lot. You also need to add structural options and design studio options. So in my experience, townhomes usually sell between $50,000 and $150,000 over the base price. And single family homes sell between $100,000 and $250,000 over the base price. In my personal new construction townhouse style condo, which I purchased in Ashburn, ended up being $85,000 over base price. So that advertised price of $1,043,000 can easily end up with a final sales price over $1.2 million. Now, sometimes you will see the actual sales price advertised if the builder already picked out all the options and the home is close to completion or even completed. Now, the next kind of new construction is little room for negotiation. Now, there will be exceptions to this rule, and it's going to be on a case-by-case basis, but 95% of the time, the price is the price. And it really comes down to supply and demand. So many times over the past few years, I've gone with clients to look at new construction communities, and I'll see another 10 to 15 other groups touring the model home as well. I've also seen with very hot neighborhoods where you have to get in a wait list and get pre-approved with the builder's preferred lender just to get an appointment to sit down with a builder sales rep. So currently, the demand for new construction is pretty much at an all-time high. Now, like I said, there are exceptions to the rule. And in fact, I just had a client probably a few weeks ago. They're interested in a new construction single family home, and it happened to be the last home available. House was completely built, so we actually offered $20,000 under their asking price, and the builder accepted. We just happened to get lucky because it was literally the last home in the community, and they just wanted to sell and move on to their next project. But most of the time, the price is the price, but at least you're not dealing with bidding wars and going way above asking price. Now let's dive into the cons of resale homes, and the first con is older homes. So throughout the region, especially in Fairfax and Arlington County, a huge chunk of the housing stock was built decades ago. So depending on the neighborhood, you can see a lot of homes that are built in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. Now that's not automatically a bad thing, but it does come with some trade-offs. As older homes usually have older layouts, smaller closets, fewer bathrooms, and lower ceiling heights. Also with older homes, it's not unusual to walk into a home and having to repair or replace things like roofs, windows, HVAC, electrical panels, and plumbing sooner rather than later. So let's say you buy a home that was built in 1982, but in the first 2 years, you have to replace the roof, the HVAC, and remodel the kitchen. Well, that can easily be over $100,000 out of your pocket. And that is real money, which is something you're not gonna have to deal with new construction, at least initially. So with older homes, you have to be prepared for something major to happen sooner rather than later. The next con is bidding wars. Now, we touched on this a little earlier, but this is a huge con for resale homes. So when you're out shopping for resale homes, there isn't anything worse than losing out on 5 homes to higher bidders. It is very frustrating. I've seen many homes that are market throughout the year sell for $100,000 above, $200,000 above, even as high as $400,000 above the asking price. And this is by far the most challenging aspect with resale homes. In fact, when I bought my new construction home in 2021, it was the peak for bidding wars. And it was a huge relief knowing I didn't have to go through a dreaded bidding war. So chances are, if you are in a bidding war, you will be overpaying for the house. So the big question is, which one is right for you, new construction or resale? And without question, it really comes down to 3 things: your timing, your budget, and your location. First, let's talk about timing. When do you actually need to move in? If you need to be in your home within the next 60 to 90 days, then resale is probably gonna be your best option. Because with new construction, depending on the builder, the community, and where they are in the build process, it could take several months, and in some cases, close to a year, before that home is actually ready for you. But if you don't need something right away, and you have some flexibility with your timeline, then new construction can be a great option. Next is your budget, and if your goal is to stretch your dollar out as far as possible and get the most value for your money, then resale is always going to give you way more options. But if you are at a higher price point and you're comfortable paying a premium for something brand new, then new construction may be exactly what you're looking for. And then the third one, and this might be the biggest determining factor, is location. Let's say you relocated from Texas for a job here in Northern Virginia, and based on your own research and maybe watching some of my YouTube videos, you've decided you only want to live in Sterling, but you also want a new construction single family home. Well, currently there are no new construction single family homes available in Sterling. So if you have to be in a specific location, that's automatically going to limit your options. And in that scenario, resale might be the only realistic choice you have. So if you're trying to decide between new construction and resale, don't just look at the house itself. You need to look at your specific situation. What's your timeline? What's your budget? And where do you actually want or need to live? Because at the end of the day, the right choice is the one that fits what matters most to you and your family. And if you want to learn more about new construction homes here in Northern Virginia, check out this video right here. I share with you the pros and cons of buying a new construction home in Northern Virginia. And trust me, you're not going to want to miss it. And I'll see you in the next video.